They were born together. Same womb, same moment. Two halves of the same person entering the world side by side and spending the rest of their lives trying to become whole by finding their way back to each other. Cersei and Jaime Lannister's affair is not a love story the show dressed up as something dark. It is a tragedy the show dressed up as a love story. And the difference matters enormously. Because once you see it as a tragedy, everything they do to each other, everything they do to the world around them, makes a different kind of sense. They did not destroy each other despite loving each other. They destroyed each other because of it. If you're new here, this is Mereth Tales. Subscribe and hit the bell. This one goes deep. To understand the destruction, you have to understand what they were to each other before the affair became the affair. Cersei and Jaime grew up as mirrors. In a family defined by power and performance, Tywin Lannister's children, which meant never showing weakness, never admitting fear, never being anything less than gold. Jaime and Cersei were the only people each of them could be real with. Cersei was brilliant and ambitious in a world that had no use for brilliant, ambitious women. She watched her brother get handed everything she wanted, the training, the weapons, the future, simply because he was born male. She was given a crown and called it opportunity. It was a cage with better curtains. Jaime was golden and gifted and quietly miserable about it, the greatest swordsman of his generation, destined for glory, increasingly hollow inside the armor of his own reputation. He joined the Kingsguard partly to stay near Cersei. He made the hardest choice of his life, killing the Mad King, saving 500,000 people, and received nothing for it but contempt. The Kingslayer, said like a curse. They were each other's only witness, the only person who saw past the performance, the only person who knew what it actually cost. That is what the affair was built on. Not just desire. Relief, the specific relief of being known. And that foundation, beautiful as it was also the thing that made everything that followed inevitable. Here is where the destruction begins. Cersei loved Jaime, but she also needed Jaime to be a specific thing. Her counterpart, her mirror, her equal in a world that refused to give her equality through any other door. The moment Jaime started changing, the affair started breaking. Jaime lost his sword hand in Season 3. One cut, one moment of Locke's blade in the dark, and the greatest swordsman in Westeros became a man who could not hold a sword properly, could not fight the way he had fought, could not be the Golden Knight who had defined himself entirely through physical excellence. That loss broke something in Jaime, but it also built something. He started becoming a better man. He saved Brienne from the bear pit, not for politics, not for strategy, but because it was right. He told her his real name and his real story in a bath in Harrenhal, the truth about why he killed the Mad King, the truth he had never told anyone. He became capable of honesty in a way he had never been before. Cersei did not want a better man. She wanted her mirror back. She wanted the Jaime who was golden and invincible and entirely hers. The Jaime who was changing, who was developing a conscience, who was becoming someone Brienne could respect, was not the Jaime she had built her world around. And she punished him for it. Every time Jaime returned to her, Cersei used him. Not always consciously, not always cruelly, but consistently, as a resource, as a protector, as a political instrument, as proof that she was still lovable, even as she made herself increasingly difficult to love. She asked him to kill Tyrion. She manipulated his feelings for her into acts of violence and loyalty that served her agenda. She kept him close enough to depend on and pushed him away whenever he threatened to become something she couldn't control. And Jaime, who loved her with the kind of love that makes intelligent people stupid, kept coming back. Because here is the thing about loving someone who was your mirror from birth. You do not know where they end and you begin. Jaime's identity, for most of his life, was inseparable from being Cersei's, the Kingslayer who loved the Queen, the Golden Twin who completed the Golden Twin. Without her, he did not know what he was. That is not romance, that is codependence. And codependence, taken to the level Cersei and Jaime lived it, does not end gently. Let's talk about the children. Joffrey, Myrcella, Tommen. Jaime's children in truth, Robert's children in name, pawns in a game neither parent played well. Joffrey was the product of a love that had no healthy model to follow. Cersei loved him the way she loved Jaime, completely, possessively, without boundaries. She shielded him from consequences. She excused his cruelty. She created in him the worst version of what both his parents could have been. Cersei's hunger for power without her intelligence, Jaime's sense of invincibility without his eventual capacity for growth. Jaime was absent. By design and by circumstance. He was Kingsguard, not father. He watched Joffrey from a distance and could not claim him, correct him, or protect him in the ways that mattered. Joffrey died at his own wedding, poisoned, and both his parents had to grieve a son they could never publicly call their own. Tommen was gentler and was destroyed by gentleness. In a world built by his mother's ferocity, he had no armor. He loved Marjorie and lost her. He loved his mother and was used by her. He walked out of a window and ended it. 3 children, all dead, all, in some part, casualties of a love their parents should never have had, or should have handled entirely differently. Now let's talk about the ending. Season 7. The Sept of Baelor is ash. Tommen is dead, and Jaime, finally, reaches his limit. He has watched Cersei blow up the holiest building in King's Landing, kill hundreds of people, destroy their last surviving son, and consolidate a power that is now entirely built on fear and rubble. He has watched her become exactly what she always feared becoming, a ruler without love, without allies, without anything left except the Iron Throne and the will to hold it. He leaves her. For the first time in his life, Jaime Lannister chooses something over Cersei. He rides north to fight in the war against the dead. Not because anyone asked him to, not because it serves a political purpose, but because it is right. He has finally, after 40 years, learned to want something other than her. And then, in the final season, he goes back. He hears that King's Landing is falling, and that Cersei is trapped, and he turns his horse south and rides back to her. And every viewer who had watched his arc, who had seen him grow, change, become someone worthy of Brienne's respect and his own, felt their hearts sink. Because we knew what it meant. He could not let her die alone. Not because he was weak, not because the writers forgot his arc, but because Jaime Lannister, for all his growth, could not fully separate himself from the woman who had been his other half since before they were born. He found her in the tunnels beneath the Red Keep. He held her. He told her she was all that mattered, and the ceiling fell. They died together, the way they were born, together, in the same moment, in the same place. And that is the cruelest thing about their story. Not that the affair destroyed them, but that it destroyed them so completely, so symmetrically, so poetically, as if the universe had decided that 2 people who had made themselves into one thing would have to end as one thing. Cersei never became free. She spent her entire life building walls and calling them a kingdom, and died inside them, exactly as the prophecy promised, with her little brother's arms around her. Jaime never became fully free either. He grew, he changed. He became, briefly, the man he might have been if he had never loved his sister the way he did. And then he chose her anyway. The affair did not destroy them with scandal or exposure or the political consequences everyone feared. It destroyed them slowly, from the inside, by making each of them the other's greatest weakness in a world that had no mercy for weakness. They were each other's only witness, and in the end, they were each other's ruin. That is why the affair destroyed them both. Not fire, not enemies, not the Game of Thrones.